Council to order Tuesday, September 7th, 2021. Approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Lehman.
That the Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes, August 3rd, 2021 regular council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
That the Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021 regular meeting of council minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried. Thank you. 3.2, August 4th, 2021 special meeting of council minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
That the Wednesday, August 4th, 2021 special meeting of council minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried. Thank you. Any business arising from the minutes, council? Staff? Thank you. And delegations. 6.1, we have Denise Mountenay regarding masks and experimental vaccinations. Denise Mountenay, concerned resident, to present to council on the harmful effects of masks and experimental vaccinations. Welcome. So just to remind, it is 15-minute delegation, so if we do get to 15 minutes, I'll have to ask council for a motion to continue. So please, floor is all yours.
Before I start, we're trying to wrap like so much information into 15 minutes, so we're trying our best, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and town council and everyone for joining us here tonight. My name is Denise Mountenay. I'm a mother, wife for 30 years to the same man, author, and human rights advocate for 34 years now. I've been going into the United Nations and the World Health Organization for about the last 12 years in Geneva and in New York City. And we are very, very concerned and upset about the bullying and coercion of our provincial government for children 12 years and up to be vaccinated and have proof of vaccination by September 13th and to be fully vaccinated by October 24th, or else we become second-class citizens. Talk about discrimination. We will not be allowed to eat in any restaurants, go to the recreational center, the gym, the pool, concerts, sports, sporting events, the arena, etc., for refusing to take these experimental vaccines. But all of last year, my husband and I and our 2 foster children that we were looking after were so blessed to enjoy the beautiful pool and rec center here in Tumbler Ridge in the peak of COVID-19. It was no problem, and we had freedom all summer, and we were so blessed. But we all need to understand why COVID-19 cases were so high. And it is because the science shows that the PCR tests were never designed to detect whether a person is infectious with the actual COVID-19 virus. Dr. Bullard, the Manitoba chief microbiologist and laboratory specialist, they actually did a study, and they found that 56% of the cases were false positives. 56%. And other scientists and researchers have also found the same results, that these were very poorly designed and not for COVID-19. And last month, the Center for Disease Control issued a statement that as of December 31st of this year, they are withdrawing these PCR tests and recommending a new test that actually differentiates between COVID-19 and other flu viruses. So no one got the flu last year or a cold. It was all supposedly COVID. But you can count on 56 to 95% of them being false positives. And we're sorry that, yes, people died. last year from COVID, but people do die every year from the flu and pneumonia. Plus, as you can see, and these are, some of these are in your handouts that we've given to you. This Health Canada graph, as you can see, these blue graphs here are showing the COVID rates in blue, but the death rate is in red along the bottom, and you can see all along it's a pretty steady, even flow of the death rates, okay, across Canada. And I want to bring attention to the COVID statistics in British Columbia accessed on August 23rd, about a week or two ago. With a population of over 5 million people, you can see that the death rate with COVID in British Columbia is only 0.03%. 0.03%. But good news is all along there is a 99.97% survival rate. This is the good news. There's a high, very high recovery rate and survival rate for people with COVID. And these are with PCR tests, by the way. However, the risk really jumps if you are over 80 years old with other conditions and maybe living in a nursing home. And you can look at the deaths by the age here to see who are the highest risk, and it definitely is the seniors and elderly. So if 99% of population recover from this Wuhan man-made flu, why are they pushing and coercing us to take these experimental mRNA vaccines? These are not like traditional vaccines. I mean, if anyone wants to get vaccinated, that's their choice. But if we do not, we cannot have any more access to certain businesses and public buildings in town. This is outrageous. Are we back in Nazi Germany, communist China? Furthermore, globally, thousands of doctors, renowned scientists, researchers, and lawyers are speaking out. But because of global controllers on Facebook, YouTube, and social media, and the secular media censoring and blocking the truth sayers, maybe because of their own biases, and maybe just follow the money. Sadly, even Canadian doctors are being silenced. But I know Dr. Charles Hoff from BC and Dr. Francis Christian and others say COVID-19 is not a threat to children, as the risk of them dying is 0.003%. And they're going after the children. I heard that they want to start vaccinating children 12 and up, and then they want to go to the 5-year-olds and up. And we have so much information. This pandata.org website talks, this is by doctors and researchers, about how children have such a low incidence of COVID serious problems. And COVID-19, this is from the United Kingdom, and there's like dozens of doctors on here, pediatricians, who are very, very concerned about child vaccination, safety, and ethical concerns. And everyone needs to read this. It's powerful. And why would any person take an experimental mRNA vaccine that has never been tested on animals? They were mass-produced at warp speed by manufacturers who have had billions in lawsuits for fraudulent claims. For example, Pfizer had $4.7 billion in fines for false claims, drug and medical equipment safety violations, etc. Moderna has never even brought a vaccine to market since its founding, despite fielding 9+ vaccine candidates, but none of them made it through phase 3 clinical trials. And AstraZeneca, another one they're pushing here, has been suspended by over 24 European countries due to severe lethal adverse reactions, such as blood clots. Phase 3 clinical trials will not end until 2022 and 2023. The coronavirus vaccines are notorious for failures. We do not know the long-term effects or the medium-term effects. And you can still get COVID, still transmit COVID-19, and we have no idea how long the shots last. And now they want boosters and more shots and more injections. And then there's variants, and all of these vaccines have never been independently peer-reviewed and published. At this time, I would like to ask my colleague, Debbie Peever, to make a report, and then I would like to do my finale.
Sure thing.
First of all, thank you very much for your time tonight and allowing us to present before you. You know me as Debbie Peever. I think I know just about everybody in here. 15-year resident of Tumbler Ridge, educator, marriage commissioner, and small business owner. And I speak to you tonight as both a concerned citizen and a business owner. Besides the VAERS data that talks about the side effects and the complications, I just wanted to talk about a document that came across my attention with my research that I've been doing. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to put this in your package, but you're more than welcome to a copy of it if you like. It is the Pfizer Informed Consent document, and dated September 29th, and the document that was used for all the clinical trials. I'm going to refer specifically to two areas in there. One of the requirements and the other of the side effects. The requirements for this study is a lengthy 2 pages, and when you get done looking at it, you see that anybody who wanted to participate had to be extremely healthy. And I'm going to focus again on specific areas to the heart. Quoting that participants must not have evidence or history of blood, heart, blood vessel disorders. Screening of blood pressure must be less than or equal to 140/90, and I'm familiar with this as being anything over that being high blood pressure, as I have a family member who has to take daily blood pressure checks, and also screening of ECG having to be normal. Now, the side effects that are described in here, they break it down as expected, which is fatigue, dizziness, constipation, and more severe, such as shortness of breath, heart palpitations, swelling of lower limbs, and heart failure. And all of these side effects actually refer to a condition called ATTR-CM. The American Health Association actually describes it as a form of cardiomyopathy where the heart walls of your left ventricle harden. It causes the inability for the left ventricle to fill with blood, to relax enough to fill with blood, and then to ultimately pump the blood into your body. And the left ventricle is actually your main pumping chamber of the heart. Life expectancy, once symptoms present themselves, is between 3 and 15 years. So in this document, Pfizer had to disclose the number of participants that had been diagnosed with that condition after trial. 73% of the participants were diagnosed with that. These are healthy people. So as a concerned citizen, when I go to the Government of Canada COVID-19 vaccine safety and side effects, I find no mention of ATTR-CM in there at all. And as a person who has a family member who has heart issues and conditions, 73% of healthy participants being diagnosed with that after the vaccine or in the trial really has me questioning things. And the other thing that really bothers me is that our province is not allowing exemption for vaccine passports for people who may have medical reasons for not getting them. My ask of council in regards to this, and I'm going to quote from Mike Farnsworth, local governments are key partners in ensuring the provincial health officers' orders are obeyed so people in our communities can stay safe. It's important that communities and those responsible for compliance have clear and consistent guidelines to enforce the provincial health officers' orders so businesses can adapt their workplaces and help keep people safe. My ask is simple. When will your guidelines be released to the community of Tumbler Ridge? And will those guidelines take into account that there are residents in this community that are unable to provide proof of vaccine? The other thing I just wanted to mention as well was I came across a privacy statement that was released May 19th. It's called the Privacy and COVID-19 Vaccine Passports. It was a joint statement that was put together by federal, provincial, and territorial privacy commissioners. The reason they put this together, and I quote again, to ensure that privacy is considered at the earliest opportunity. And they indicated in there that so far we, referring to them, have not been presented with evidence of vaccine effectiveness to prevent transmission. Because a vaccine passport presumes that individuals will be required or requested to disclose personal health information in exchange for goods, services, and or attain certain premises or locations, that being an encroachment of civil liberties, there are requirements that they put into place. Vaccine passports must be delivered and implemented in compliance with applicable privacy laws. In light of the significant privacy risks involved, the necessity must be established for each specific context. And there must be no other less privacy intrusive measures available. Our BC 2021 Restart Plan is a perfect example of a less privacy intrusive measure that was put into place when we followed the requirements set out that began in May 25th, we achieved step 3. The cancellation of the state of emergency in BC on June 30th supports the effectiveness of this less intrusive measure. As a concerned citizen, I am concerned about my privacy being violated with the vaccine passports, or the proof of vaccine, I should say. As a business owner, I am really concerned about violating privacy rights of clients and customers. And currently, there is no public health order on the government site talking about the vaccine passports. And I'm concerned as well, is it going to be similar to the mandatory masking that came back in place on August 25th, where a public health order for that didn't show up until September 2nd on the government site. As a business owner, I need to know that. Our local chamber, I think, best summed up the situation with the proof of vaccines for the businesses in Tumbler Ridge, and how it will just cause further hardship that many of us have endured as a result of COVID. Again, I ask of council, where do the impacts of the proof of vaccine figure into the economic development of Tumbler Ridge? And what will you do at a local government level to support the businesses of Tumbler Ridge? And I thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
As well, I forgot to mention a very, very important aspect that I want to bring to your attention. And if you go to the website openvaers.com, that stands for Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, and you can see there already, just in the United States, there have been thousands of deaths after people getting their second shots. Over 13,000 as of August 20th, 2021. Thousands of hospitalizations, thousands of urgent care, office visits, miscarriages, heart attacks, over 5,000, myocarditis and pericarditis, over 17,794, 2,800 people permanently disabled, blood clots, life-threatening things, severe allergic reactions. There's all kinds of facts about the risk of vaccines, but we're not being informed. We're not getting informed consent. They just say, oh, it's, you might get a little sore arm or something. But they're not giving informed consent about all these other risks that they're finding. And we're very concerned about that. And these proof of vaccination and mandatory passports are in total violation of our rights, according to the Emergency Act preamble that states clearly emergency orders cannot and do not supersede the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the Canadian Bill of Rights. It goes against the Canadian Human Rights Act that says that denial of commercial premises is a discriminatory practice in the provision of commercial premises, and to deny occupancy of such premises to any individual. That's paragraph 6, section 8. And the BC Public Health Act also. So it's against our constitutional rights. It's in violation. We do not want to be forced or coerced, pressured into taking an injection that can be very harmful to us and our children. And P.S., Japan just reported on August 26th last week that they disposed of 1.63 million doses of contaminated Moderna vaccines.
I'll have to stop you there. That's our, excuse me, that's our 15-minute point. Council, would I'll entertain a motion to continue. Councillor Howell.
Motion forward to continue.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Continue, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just want to, we just really hope that you will, we're talking about life and death here. And we can see that the pandemic is pretty much over. We had a great summer. And yes, flu season's coming again. But why should we be forced and coerced to take vaccinations that can be harmful to us, and especially to the children? Let's hold off. Let's stop the campaign. I mean, somebody is making billions of dollars here. And these are experimental vaccines. Everyone who's had a vaccination is actually in a trial, a clinical trial. These have never even been tested on animals. But I want to say, God bless you, God bless Tumbler Ridge, and God bless British Columbia and our nation. But we need to take a stand now, or we're going to fall for anything. Time is of the essence.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. And I just wanted to mention that we hear your frustration. We appreciate the information that you've presented to us. But we do feel the frustration you all are feeling as well. This isn't singular. This isn't just the unvaccinated. This is everybody. And we're certainly in this together. Everybody has their own opinion on it, and everybody has their own situation on it as well. But I don't know if, I don't agree that this is the stage to take a stand on. Municipal government provides the services to the municipality and the residents for the province. We're not even actually a government. We're a third arm of the province, and they have given us the right to provide these services to the residents on their behalf. So there are two options for us. We comply with the provincial mandate, or we shut facilities down. And those are our options. But as far as taking a stand, I really believe that it should be on a provincial or federal level. I don't believe the municipality is in a position to take a stand on this. That's my opinion. Councillors, any questions, comments? Councillor Hall?
And I completely disagree with the mayor's take on this. I think this is the right spot to start your discussion. I think it absolutely needs to go through the provincial and federal levels as well. But if we are not taking people's thoughts forward, who will? And we are going to be discussing this later on in the agenda. There's a portion on there that talks about a discussion on the vaccine passports and what our role will be in it and how we will implement it, which we haven't even got all the information from the government on anyways, but we're supposed to put it in place September 13th.
Yeah.
So I have motions prepared for that point in our meeting, and I hope you stick around to see where we go with that at that point. But again, this is democracy. Everybody is entitled to their opinion and entitled to their vote in here, and we'll see where that goes. But I think there are more than two options that the mayor refers to. I think there's a third option that I'd like to put forward tonight, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Any other comments? Any comments from the phone? Councillor Kirby or Norbury?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. Oh,
Councillor Norbury?
thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I just have a comment. Thank you to everyone who came in and presented your information. It's obvious that you care a lot about what's happening. My comment to everyone is, please get the vaccine. The Pfizer vaccine is now FDA approved. I respect everyone's right to choose, but please make the best decision for yourself and your family and everyone around the globe. Our ability to protect ourselves is within our sphere of influence. Masks, social distancing, proper hand hygiene, and now a vaccine can all add to our ability to defend ourselves and to fight against COVID-19. Please get the vaccine.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I believe Ms. Peever had something to say at the end there before.
I just wanted to say thank you, and you're absolutely right. Everybody has their lens that they're looking through. One of the lenses that we have as individuals is that we can serve notice of of liability notices. And that is one of the processes that we are going to take part in tonight. So as elected officials of the town of Tumbler Ridge, we are going to serve you with those notices of liability.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thanks again.
Thank you. Oh, right here. This is Chris's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. More present.
More presents. The last pile actually is concerned citizens in the town of Tumbler Ridge that have been collected in the last 48 to 72 hours.
Okay.
Okay? And thank you again.
Yes, thank you all for your presentation. I appreciate it.
So we can leave now, or?
You can leave or stay. It's up to you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Recommendation, please. Councilor Majinski,
That all items in the September 7th, 2021 consent agenda be moved for information.
seconder. Councilor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. Does council wish to lift anything from the consent agenda? Councilor Lehman.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just wondering about 712, the signs for the Wolverine Nordic Mountain Society.
Okay, move for discussion. Seconder. Councilor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. Councilor Lehman, 7.12.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this is normally that the district fixes these signs, or, I mean, somebody obviously has to look after them. I'm just wondering who really does.
Ms. Thompson, is there a precedent or a history of the district helping in the signs?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand, through council. So I believe that these signs, in the beginning, the Economic Development Department has been working with the Wolverine Nordic Mountain Society and the Geopark. And these signs, I believe they were all put up voluntarily. So at this point, the WNMS is saying that they don't have the ability to put them back up. So they've requested the help of the district. In speaking with Mr. Simcock, the Director of Operations and Infrastructure, the cost that it would be for district staff to put the signs up, because we do have to travel out to do them, would be very similar, if not a little bit more than what the quote that was put in by Taskus Contracting through them is, so it would be about similar costs.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering that, you know, essentially where the money does come from, because do they have the funds to pay for that, or is it going to end up coming out of the district funds anyway?
Ms. Thompson?
So in the correspondence that was sent in, on the bottom of page 39, the last paragraph is, as a not-for-profit, predominantly volunteer organization during the second year in which we have been unable to accrue income. They're not well-placed to fund, and that's the extent of their finances that we know about.
Councilor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. Yeah, this sign project for these trailhead signs, I think it was a joint project between Wolverine Nordic Mountain Society and the District of Tumbler Ridge, so they both put in money to do a split, I think. I think it was a 50-50 split, I believe. The only reason I know that is because I printed the signs, but I didn't do the installation. And the only reason I didn't recuse myself from this is because none of the signs were damaged, just the posts from the installation, they got ripped out and ran over, I believe. But so the installation is the key part here, and could look at other contractors, or we could even split the cost of just the reinstallation of the new posts to put the signs up right.
And I'm curious on the timing of it. I'm just wondering if it would be possible to discuss this request in the grant and aid as part of our budget discussions in 2022. So I'm just wondering if this is a time-sensitive request, or are you aware of that, Ms. Thompson?
From correspondence that we did have with Mr. Halsted, it's just that they wanted them up this fall, because they have been, there's one that has been sitting in the public works shop for about a year.
Okay. Councillor Hall?
Don't the signs say right on them, Province of British Columbia, Rec Sites and Trails, BC?
One of them, I believe.
Shipyard, Titanic, Boulder Gardens, Babcock Falls, Quality Falls, all have that on there, so I don't understand why it's not the province's responsibility instead of the municipality's responsibility to put it up. We go out on the side of the highway and auger a hole in to put these things in and hit a gas line or something like that, like, that's not our responsibility. We're also, how much problems did we go through trying to put up a signpost that was on the right of way, and then we needed to put in a power pole that needed to be so far away. So if we're gonna take that liability on by asking somebody to go and do it, I mean, this is along the province's roadways, perhaps it should be the province to do it, not us.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you. After seeing the Rec Sites and Trails sign that is looking to be replaced, I'm curious if either the district or Wolverine Nordic Mountain Society has contacted Rec Sites and Trails for that replacement. And I think that's something that could take place up to the budget deliberations of 22, where we could discuss grant and aid at that time. Councillor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. Yeah, and it is a geopark initiative as well with their branding and the UNESCO on there as well. So I think there are a few vested parties, and it'd be interesting to see the contract on that and how the money came together and who was supposed to do the care and maintenance on these year after year, whether there's vandalism or getting spray painted or whatever, bullet holes in them, who is responsible to replace a sign as well as the uprights. I don't know if there was a formulated contract with the district of Tumbler Ridge and all the other parties, but it'd be interesting to see if we can dig something up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ms. Thompson, are you aware of any of that as far as maintenance and ongoing maintenance for the signs?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I am not.
Okay. Thinking a report from staff would be appreciated with a little bit more information. Is that the direction we want to go in here? Councillor Lehman?
I'm just wondering whether or not to get, in contact with BC Parks and see what their take is on it, and let them know that the signs are down, and are they going to fix it, put them back up? And then go from there.
Yeah. Councillor Majinski?
Yeah, I think there should be a contract in place because signs are gonna get wrecked. All over, we got lots of these signs. I think there's 18 of them in place. We should have some type of game plan going forward, because these have been sitting for well over a year now from when they were damaged. They should have been replaced right away. A lot of people don't even know where these trailheads are right now. And if you're allowed to have ATVs on them or not. Some are just for hiking, some are for multi-use, so.
Okay, so I'll move that council directs staff to prepare a report in regards to the signage inventory, as well as any history in regards to the signage. And also within that report, please contact BC Rec Sites and Trails. Seconder? Councillor Majinski. Discussion, Councillor Majinski.
Yeah, and we're gonna just have a report based on the trailhead signs from ECDEV, the economic development, just those signage, because there are a lot of other signages within
Right.
the different trailheads, right? And so, okay.
Yeah, I'll specify the trailhead, yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. Any other items from the consent agenda council would like to lift? I wanted to lift 7.8 for discussion. Seconder. Councilor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Thank you. Just reading this Rustic Recreation Site Fund from Site C, BC Hydro. Just wondering, I think this might be a good opportunity to apply to BC Hydro to improve the level of parking at our Murray River boat launch. I believe the cumulative impacts to our capacities at our boat launches from the diversion of the river boaters because of Site C is going to significantly impact not only our parking space ability, but also some of the services around. So I think this might be a good opportunity to put in an application. What are council's thoughts? Councilor Majinski?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's always worth a shot, and if we put up a good letter and support, you can see clearly it's well over, like, people are getting turning away because they got nowhere to park their boats and their trucks and their trailers. So it's a big loss for a community. Like, where do they go? Try to go upriver, and it's packed there too. So
Yeah,
this is a great idea, and this is an attraction to our community.
I agree. I'll move that council direct staff to apply to the Site C Rustic Recreation Site Fund to expand our boat launch parking lot because of the cumulative impacts to our capacities from the diversion of river boaters because of Site C. Seconder, Councillor Lehman. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. And I just had one other question. I'd like to lift 7.11 for discussion. Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. I just wanted to ask Ms. Thompson, have we contacted anyone from the Forever Young Society to see if they were interested in attending this conference? Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Member Trent. We have not.
Okay. I think this would be a good opportunity for somebody from the Forever Young Society to join this conference. I think it's a good opportunity to see what the rest of the country is dealing with, and as well as an opportunity to strategize. So if there is any interest among the Forever Young Society, please contact our CAO in that regard. All right, anything else lifted from the consent agenda, Council? Councillor Majinski?
7.10, 710, Northern BC Solid Waste Management Forum.
Discussion, seconder? I'll second. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you.
Just a question to you, Mayor. You're part of the NCLGA forums. Are you going to be attending this? Would this be something beneficial to our community? Or because this is regional, correct?
It would be, yes. No. I'm not part of the Solid Waste Management Committee on the Regional District, so I wasn't planning on attending this at the moment, but if council would like me to, I certainly could try. Councillor Majinski?
Or if from the NCLGA, if there is somebody that could give us a correspondence from it even, just so that we can see it as an overview instead of attending.
Yeah,
Just so that we have some background information going forward.
certainly, yeah, I can seek that out through the Regional District and the Solid Waste Management Committee, absolutely. Okay, anything else from the consent agenda? Moving on to new business. 9.1. Proof of vaccination and temporary mask mandate. A report dated September 7th, 2021 from the Director of Protective Services regarding provincial proof of vaccination and temporary mask mandate. Ms. Thompson, is there any additional information or updates since this report was published? Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. There was a call this afternoon at 2 o'clock that Chief Curry attended, so I will pass it over to him to provide any updates that he provided this afternoon.
Councillor Hall?
Can I put a motion forward that council receives this report for discussion?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Can we hear from Chief Curry first on any
Will that be part of
updates?
the discussion?
Pardon me?
Won't that be part of the discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Chief Curry.
Thank you, Your Worship, Council. Good evening. So this afternoon, the province did the media brief updating the province on proof of vaccination. I don't have a lot to add out of this report. The province did add in some additional dates for the implementation of the proof of vaccination with the vaccine card rollout. A couple of the high-level things that I've got noted here would be that from the 13th until the 26th, businesses will be accepted or will be permitted to either use vaccine card or the paper copies of vaccinations. So those are the yellow copies that you received when you got your vaccination, for example. So you can use either one of those to prove at least one dose after the 13th. You will be able to, as of today, you did the soft launch to get the BC vaccination card. So you can either have that in an electronic form and then just show proof of your government photo ID along with that. Persons 12 years of age to 18 are not required to show ID. They did clarify that for those individuals without computer access or maybe those that are less tech savvy, there will be a toll-free number that's established to assist people, and they'll actually mail you a printed card to assist those individuals, as well as the 64 service PC centers that are across the province will also be ready to assist those people that need assistance to it. Depending on what council's decision is tonight, there was some clarification on business and how they can go about screening for proof of vaccinations. So there will be an app-based model that individuals can use. And when I say business, I mean anybody that is having an event, hosting an event that is subject to the proof of vaccination requirement. So you can do it app-based. You're taking a picture of somebody else's QR code. It's very streamlined for that. Or you can just ask for proof in a paper format, as long as it has the QR code and you're cross-referencing that against government ID, similar to liquor sales. That's also an option. Councillor, how you said it in your own words this evening, we're still waiting a lot of information. There's a lot of gray areas that the municipality has on how compliance is going to work at the district level. From an operational standpoint, we are going to be making the best decision for our employees, respecting their safety is going to be paramount, because as we all know, we may have the instances where we have our staff are going to be put into some predicaments, or it has the potential for it, and we need to best navigate forward with safety in mind. So I think I'll leave it at that. It sounds like there's going to be some really good discussion, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any further comments, discussion? Councillor Hall?
Yeah, so like, you know, these folks come in tonight and they hand out something that's called a notice of liability. So I've read through it a little bit tonight already. I had an idea something like this was going to be coming. And so myself, I'm concerned. What does that mean for me as an elected official? Like, does that mean that I can be held personally liable for implementing the strategy that the province has put forward? I don't know the answers to that question. Sure seems like it by the legal information they've provided. They have a lawyer that's backing them, that's working behind the scenes on this. And to me, I'm concerned about that. I didn't get into this position so that I can be held liable or taken to jail or anything else. So I want a legal opinion is what I want. I want all the information from the province. Before we jump into the boat and say, yeah, we're gonna implement this vaccine mandate in Tumbler Ridge and we're gonna make sure everybody's got it before they go to the rec center or the gym or the pool or whatever else, let's pump our brakes for a second. Let's get some information first from the province before we just decide we're gonna go ahead and implement this. And let's get a legal opinion. I mean, to me, that's what's best for our community. Is let's get the legal opinion in place first before we decide. Then we have a vote in council to decide if that's the direction we want to go. I mean, I don't know the ramifications behind it because I haven't heard anything besides John Horgan telling us you have to do this. Tough luck, you have to do this. Really, do we have to? You know, is it against the Canadian Charter of Rights? I've read some stuff that says that it is. Is it discrimination? I think absolutely it's discrimination. And the fact that there are people out there that actually the largest group we've ever had come into our chambers, that represents a larger group of people that are out there. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or all this anti-vaccine and all this stuff. To me, it's about choices and the freedom for what you choose to put in your body and do what you want. I don't like the fact that the province and the federal government has considerably continued to move the goalposts on this. I don't like the fact that, you know, if we just do this for 2 weeks and we lower the curve, we'll all be good. Oh, we'll just got to do it for 6 weeks and then wear masks. And then it was like, don't worry, once we get the vaccine out, we'll all be good. Once we get herd immunity, we'll all be good. Now it's where's the end line, right? Bonnie Henry said quite early into this that BC will not be implementing a vaccine passport, and here we are implementing a vaccine passport. So that's my thoughts on it. I have a motion ready to go, but I'd like to hear what other members on council feel about this. And I'm going to put a motion forward tonight that gives us an opportunity to basically vote on getting a legal opinion from our lawyers to see if this is legal what we're about to try and do, or follow through that.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, did you have any comment on the legal ramifications or aspects of this?
Thank you, Bertrand. So as far as the documents that were delivered to each member of council, I haven't seen them, so I don't know what is all in them. Within our legislation under the community charter, it is permissive legislation, and we are required to follow what the province does. I would be interested to find out the legal opinion as well on the documents that have been provided, because I just don't know.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. You know, getting a legal opinion isn't a horrible idea. But you know, that aside, I mean, I do understand the concern of the notice of liability. I haven't received it, but you know, I'm sure it's waiting for me. You know, this is from the BC government, right? And when it comes down to if this is legal, is it not? That's really a matter for the courts. And at this point in time, if we are suggesting we do anything other than what the BC government is mandating us to do, and I'm sure they have lawyers and checked in to make sure they can do this too. If we were doing anything contrary to that, I am concerned that we will be directly violating the law. So I think before we decide we're going to go against this, and everyone listening and watching, if you choose to violate this, you may be in direct conflict with the law, and let the court system decide it, right? There's sounding like these people have lawyers and they have advocates on their side, and they're digging into the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Good for them. I support them in their quest, but this is a matter for the BC government and the courts. And if we choose to go against that, we are in direct conflict with the law, and I disagree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other discussion, comments? Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. As far as I know, Quebec has implemented the COVID passport, as far as I know. And I'm not sure if Manitoba has. I think they were talking about it. But that should give us some indication of what is going on, and I don't profess to think that the BC government is way ahead of anybody. I think it's like Councillor Howe said, the goalposts keep moving, and you never know what the hell's going on because they keep changing it. And I don't know if we're ever going to get down to where we're going to get some solid facts and this is what's going to go on. It just seems it changes. And you know, first there was a different strain, then all of a sudden now there's another strain. How long is this going to keep going on? And I like Councillor Howard again is right. I think we need to find out what our legal options are, what our liabilities are, because as far as I know, we have to comply with what the provincial government is telling us to do. I mean, we're, like you said before, we're just an arm of the provincial government. So our hands are sort of tied. Like, you know, we have to comply with what they tell us to do. So I just wish we would get more clarity, and I don't know if that's ever going to come. So, but I think we should see what the ramifications have been in Quebec with what they've done so far, and see what they're doing to, you know, whatever problems they must have, you know, people that are not complying with, you know, not vaccinated. So what are their options? So that's something I'd be interested in.
Any other comments? Councillor Howe?
I for one, am not interested in doing in British Columbia what Quebec does, because I'm not a big fan of the way that they treat Western Canada. But that being said, I'd like to put the motion forward that states the District of Tumbler Ridge will not be implementing the province of British Columbia provincial vaccine mandate effective September 13th until, 1, we have received a legal opinion from our lawyers indicating that what we are about to do is legal, that we aren't in violation of any part of the Canadian Charter of Rights, Bill of Rights, the Convention on the Rights of a Child, or any other sets of laws or acts in Canada by enforcing the vaccine mandate in our public facilities. Also, I would like to know, are we allowing, does allowing one group access to our facilities and denying another group based on their medical history, disability, or religion not amount to discrimination? 3, that we have that legal opinion shared by our lawyers in an open meeting of council. And 4, that this council has a vote to implement the provincial mandate at our first regular meeting of council after we have received and heard the legal opinion from our lawyers.
Okay, can you provide staff with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Seconder? Councillor Lehman, discussion?
I'd like
Councillor
to make a comment, Mayor Bertrand.
Sorry, Councillor Kirby?
Thank you. You know, we have a good delegation that brought forward a lot of research on their behalf. They took a stand, and I love to see residents coming forward to council. The recommendation that Councillor Howe has put on the floor, I will be voting against at this point for the September 13th. I think that we will be breaking the law, like Councillor Norbury has said, but I think we have to do due diligence for our residents that are not going to be choosing vaccination and finding out information and bringing their concerns forward. We all have options here. I chose to be double vaccinated. That was my choice. When you choose not to get vaccinated, you make a choice, and those choices are losing out on some of the things that you enjoy doing. But then again, I'm double vaccinated, and maybe I made a choice where now I'm scared that I'm going to have heart attacks and this and that. I mean, we all have our choices, but till we know more information, we have to stand behind the provinces. Like, I will vote to stand behind the province on this, get more information as needed, because this action that they're taking is trying to prevent more deaths and more spread of the disease, and also on a really hard-hit medical situation. Our hospitals can't handle it, and for that reason, I'll still be voting against Councillor Hal's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I'm not in favor of the motion. I can appreciate Councillor Howell where he's coming from. He wants more information, whereas more information is always good. You know, the Conservative government of Canada said they're going to implement a vaccine passport system. The Canadian Liberal Party is going to be supporting provinces in their implementation of vaccine passport systems. And I think with the two largest political parties supporting this or supporting it in part, I would like to see evidence to the contrary on this can't be done before we go out and intentionally break the law, in my opinion. If information comes out that this is a violation of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms from a different group that has legitimacy, I would be willing to look at it at that point. But at this point in time, if we contravene this mandate, we are in direct conflict with the law, and there are better ways, I believe, to go about this if this truly is this breach rather than being in conflict with the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion? Councillor Majinski?
Yeah, the thing that scares me is we not implement what the province is mandating after September 13th, and if we do so, I think we're putting the community at risk as a whole, the whole district of Tumbler Ridge. So at this time, I definitely do want to see more information, and I think we should look at legal advice. We might even see more of that coming forward from the province in the next week or less than that before this gets implemented. But I do definitely agree with a lot of Councillor Howe's motion, except for not following the mandate. That's just my opinion there.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there too. I certainly agree that a legal opinion is valid for this as well as for the liability, but I am not in a position to support this motion for the fact that if we aren't in compliance September 13th, we will be dealing with fines, I'm sure, which will cost taxpayers more money. So until this is settled in the courts where the Supreme Court of BC or whoever determines that this vaccine passport is against Charter of Rights and Freedoms, everybody has their own opinion. And we are very, very privileged to have that opinion and be able to speak that opinion. But the decisions are really made in the courts, and I don't think as a municipality we should be making that decision without a court decision as well. So, but I am certainly in agreement with the legal opinion for ourselves, just not with the non-compliance. Councillor Howell?
So nowhere in that motion does it say that I would like us to break the law. It does not say that. It says that we get the legal opinion and we get the rest of the information for the provincial government before September 13th. We can then call a meeting to vote on it at any time that we choose. So nowhere in there, and so if your argument is, I don't want to do this because it's breaking the law, this gives us 5 days to get a legal opinion, call a special meeting of council, bring us all back in, get the information, share that information with the public so they can hear why we are making the decision that we are right from the horse's mouth from our lawyer. And then we can go ahead and have the vote that we continue on either with or without the mandate from the provincial government. Nowhere in there did I say, let's break the law. I said, let's get at this and get it done by September 13th. And if the will of council is to move forward with this, our staff can be directed to get a hold of a lawyer, get this done, get a meeting arranged, and we can have it all done before September 13th. So if that's your only complaint here that we might be breaking the law September 13th, this motion still works for you.
I see your point, and it could be possible there. The problem I have with legal opinion is it's coming from a lawyer and not a judge. Judges make those decisions and precedent is set. Lawyers give opinions on determining risk of liability. So we're going to ask the lawyer if we have liability to implement these measures, and he's going to tell us yes or no if we have risk or not. He's not going to tell us that this is absolutely legal. Go ahead. That's for a judge to decide, not a lawyer. So I'm not sure if we're going to get a decisive decision through that opinion. Councillor Howe.
And you're right, we may not, but every other decision that we make in here as a council, be it about land sales or be it about employment of people or releasing people from staff or anything like that, we take the judgment of our lawyer and we go ahead with it. 9 times out of 10, we never go against our lawyer. Our lawyer says this is the best way to do it, and we use the lawyer's advice. We never get the opinion of a judge. We get the opinion of a lawyer who uses legal precedent to follow along where similar situations like this have occurred to say it would be a likely outcome for you guys to do something the same. That's all I'm asking for, is that we could do something that's very similar along those lines. We pay our lawyers a lot of money in the district of Tumbler Ridge. Somewhere to the tune of $350 an hour, I think is the number. So there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be able to lean on them at this time to find out not just what we would implement in our own community, but what this is. Does this mean that I can be held personally liable if we are to continue pushing this forward, if we're to continue with it? Just want the opinion. Give me the opinion that is this a real thing or is this a pile of BS that they brought forward?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm terrified by it.
I completely agree with you, and I can use my privilege in this position to get a legal opinion on that. It certainly doesn't have to be wrapped into the implementation on September 13th, but it could as well. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I don't think the province is going to put any municipality in a tough position to have us held liable as an individual in these positions. Second of all, can I get a reread of the first paragraph of the motion, please? Because it didn't say anything up until the 13th.
Okay.
Because it said the motion was saying that it was to search legal advice, and my observation of that sentence was that could definitely go past September 13th to get the
Possibly.
proper legal advice. I don't think we can get it in 5 days.
Possibly.
So I just want to have it reread out, just clarification.
Councillor Hall, could you reread the
Portion is we will not be implementing the province of British Columbia's provincial vaccine mandate effective September 13th until, is the word you're looking for in there. That's it. Until we receive all this information. That's it.
Councillor?
That could still be after September 13th, because it could still say we're not following the protocol until we get legal advice. That's what scares me, is like this continue. We could not get legal advice for a month or 2 months. So we would be breaking the law with the province.
Yeah, and I have a concern that we're giving our lawyers 4 days to investigate case law over however many years. It may not be enough. It may not be a complete opinion. I don't know. It's definitely a compressed timeline for legal opinion. Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. I've read a whole bunch of articles about the Charter of Rights and whether or not this is an infringement on the Charter. And you get differing opinions depending on which lawyer is writing the article. So it's one says this and one says this. Like, when are they going to come to a firm decision so that we know what the hell is actually going on and what the ramifications are? So just clear that up. Like, that should be on the province to do. Actually, maybe, I guess it could be even federal. It doesn't matter. But somebody higher than us, obviously, so that we know what's going on.
Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I think you and all the other members of the council summed it up really well. Ultimately, this needs to come from a judge. Our lawyers, I don't think, are equipped to be able to handle this concern in such a short time frame. And even if they could, how much money are we going to have to spend on this? This is not a simple question that we're asking. This isn't a yes or no. And there are better people that have to take this to the court systems to get us the definitive answer and not just the suggestion, like you mentioned, Mayor. Good comment, thank you. I'm still opposed. And, you know, that motion Councillor Howe read, it in my opinion that absolutely says we will not implement anything until we get our word back. We might not get anything back for weeks, months, because of how convoluted this question is, especially when you look at emergency orders under a pandemic in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I mean, I can refer back to a post our MLA shared about this. You know, and he's on the opposing side of the aisle when it comes to politics, and you know, he made in that article, it was still vague, but it still leans on the side that this is in fact a legal decision that they are making. And again, I think we need to wait until we actually have definitive proof saying the opposite. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, discussion? Okay, I'll call the question on the motion. All in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Defeated, thank you. So for the councillors on the phone, myself, Councillor Majinski, and Councillor Lehman were opposed. Councillor Howe was in favor. So I would like to make a motion as well to ask staff for a legal opinion on the personal liability that council has in regards to implementing the vaccine passport. Seconder, Councillor Majinski. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. Okay, moving on, 9.2. National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Report dated September 7, 2021 from the Financial Manager regarding new federal holiday, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th. Recommendation, please. I'll move that Council acknowledges the observance of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on September 30th. Seconder, Councillor Lehman. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Any opposed on the phone, sorry? Gotta get used to that. 9.3, Downtown Core Sidewalk Renewal. Report dated September 7th, 2021 from the Chief Administrative Officer regarding the Downtown Core Sidewalk Renewal of 1,820 square meters of sidewalks and shared spaces. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
Council will support the application through Canada Community Revitalization Fund, CCRFC, for downtown core sidewalk renewal of 1,820 square meters and shared spaces of 1,116,000 with a funding request of 750,000, with the remaining 336,000 to be committed through district funding, and that the district will be responsible for any cost overruns associated with completion to specification.
Seconder. Councillor Lehman, discussion? Councillor Howe?
I'm totally in favor of it. I'm a little curious to where we come up with the number of 1,116,000. And when we talk about the repairs to the downtown core, the sidewalks, are we talking about just redoing pavement? Or are we talking about removing the pavers that are downtown and putting new pavers in, or fixing the pavers? Is it just to redo the concrete, or is it pavers as well?
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, can you give us a overview, please?
Yes, thank you, Member Trent through Council. So the district had completed in January of 2020, there was a downtown sidewalk assessment, and that's where the cost came out. So they are Class D estimates, and so we would need to look more into it, or they would need to be adjusted a little bit more, but it also includes drainage issues that we currently have, accessibility and replacement of the sidewalks. So That is only for Main Street, so it would run from Town Hall here down to Front Street and would include furnishings as well. In regards to removing the pavers and what it would be replaced, so right now we're doing the urban design guidelines, which will set the standard for what the downtown is gonna look like. So at this point, we are working on that report. There will be another workshop coming up to just determine what we want the downtown core to look like for pavers and with sidewalks at this point. So at that time, these are still Class D, and the determination of what goes in there will come out with the urban design guidelines.
Thank you. Councillor?
Just for confirmation, so the estimate, Class D estimate, was just $1.1 million to do the work on Main Street alone, not Front Street, not any of the other, that's it. Wow. That's a lot of money. We're gonna redo the entire downtown core, we're looking at $5 million.
But those are Class D estimates, which is plus or minus 50%. Is that correct, Ms. Thompson? Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. So yes, we do realize that the cost to go down Front Street is 1.1 as an estimate. So once we get further into the design of what we're going to do, I would be able to request through the grant program that we expand the program. So yes, it went in for Front Street only, or sorry, for Main Street, but my hope is that our costs will come lower and then we can expand the program too, so that we can ensure that we use up that $750,000, which would be 75% of funding for the program.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. And just to clarify, this 1.16 or $1.1 million cost was not from the district's estimations. This was from Urban Systems, correct?
Correct, and it does include the drainage issues and accessibility that we do have there as well. So there would be new storm sewers that would be put in as well. So not just sidewalks, it would also address the drainage concerns that we currently have.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury? Councillor Norbury, are you on the line? Must have lost him there. Councillor Kirby, are you on the line?
We just got, sorry, I got disconnected.
Have to set it up. Have to set it up again. Okay, just be a minute.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
You want me to let him know to phone back?
I've got
Okay.
The number that you have dialed is not in service.
I think I did. I'll get Ms. Torville to.
No problem.
Sorry.
TELUS conferencing. To join the conference, enter your access code followed by the number sign. You are the first to join the conference. Please hold. At the tone, please state your name followed by the number sign.
Council.
Thank you.
They are just calling back.
Okay. I did get.
Announcing participant.
Councilor Norbert?
Councilor Norbury, are you there?
Yep.
Here we go.
I told Councilor Kirby to try and call in again. Maybe that'll help us here.
Yeah, I think it just disconnected there. Did you have a comment about the downtown core sidewalk renewal?
Yes, I did, Mayor.
Please.
Should I wait until we get Councilor Kirby online?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Announcing participant.
Councillor Joanne Kirby?
Hi, Councilor.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Something went wrong there and the call dropped, so we're all back on now. Councilor Norbury wanted to comment about the downtown core sidewalk renewal. Go ahead, Councilor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I'm in support of the recommendation. We all know we need to fix our sidewalks downtown, and this could hopefully get a big chunk of that paid for, so I'm in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kirby, any comments?
I was in support of the motion, but I didn't hear what Councillor Howell had to say or any other members of council that might sway my decision. So at this point, I'm in favor.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure when the call dropped there, but Councillor Howell was asking staff where the estimates came from for the 1.1 million. They came from the downtown assessment back in 2020.
And I also said I was in favor.
And Councillor Howell did say he was in favor, yeah. Thank you. And I believe that's the only comments that you may have missed so far. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm very happy that this revitalization fund is available. 750,000 will make a very big impact in our downtown core. And thank you for staff for finding the grant application. Appreciate it. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Any opposed on the line? Carried, thank you. Okay, schedule of meetings, 9.4. Any issues there, council? And staff, any issues of scheduled meetings? No? Okay. Notice of motions, any notice of motions this evening? Yeah. Any new ones, I mean, sorry? Okay, 10.1, taxation of churches in community charter. Councillor Howell brought forward the following notice of motion. I'll let you go ahead, read it, Councillor.
I'm actually just going to subtract one part from the back of it here, but the council directs staff to create a report that outlines the reasons or history behind why the community charter offers property exemption status to churches, and to show the tax amounts the DTR has to be exempt per year as a result of that community charter requirement.
Okay, seconder.
He's deleting it?
So yeah, the last paragraph has been deleted from the motion. Councillor Majinski, second. Discussion? Councillor Howe?
So the last part of the motion that I had originally read was that council creates a resolution to take to the UBCM requesting a change to the community charter to allow cities and municipalities to tax religious organizations if they so choose. The reason I'm removing that is I'd like to hear the information in the report from our staff first before we would ever go down the road of taking anything to the UBCM. So I don't want that to convolute what I'm trying to achieve here. And that is just basically, why are churches exempt in British Columbia? Why are they exempt? I don't understand the reasoning behind it, and just give us some indication of what's going on there. And this has come as no surprise of what has happened in the residential school system to our First Nations friends and family. And that to me is I don't understand why the churches have never been taxed to this point, and I just want the information behind it to see if maybe this is something that communities in Tumbler Ridge communities in British Columbia, is there any possibility that they could tax the churches if they wanted to? And would this be something that we could utilize to help in the efforts to deal with what's been brought forward with the residential schools into this recent discoveries?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was kind of confused on the motivation to single out churches. It didn't make sense to me to single out just churches, because we give a lot of exemptions to a lot of nonprofits. So thank you for your explanation there. And then as far as to show the tax amounts that DTR has to exempt per year, we do that in our annual report every year. There is a portion there that we are entitled to show the exemptions to all the nonprofits and that. So it is public knowledge as far as how much is being exempted. But yeah, Councillor Howe.
Yeah, and I'm aware that we get that document in the Sophie report and all that, but to add that portion to this discussion is what I'm looking for. So that, basically we have the numbers in front of us. Staff comes back and says, this is why they exempted churches, and it's been this reason for so long. And then we could then go and see immediately within that report that the District of Tumble, and I don't know what the numbers are, but it's $25,000, $30,000 a year that they don't pay taxes on. And just to put some flavor to it, is it worth continuing that process, or is this such a minuscule amount? Similar to farmlands in Tumbler Ridge, it's $6 a year or something. Is it worth changing or doing anything towards? And that's the reason, if it's all within the report rather than a vague number that we don't really know what it is, just put it in the report so we know how much every year that we exempt the churches in Tumbler Ridge.
Okay. Any other comments, questions?
Mayor?
Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I don't support the recommendation on the floor. I understand the idea, get information first and then make a decision, but I've looked into this myself, and you made a comment that we do point out how much we exempt our churches. That's $9,000 for all 4 churches in Tumbler Ridge. It is in our 5-year financial plan. But I know that after we get this report and we burden our staff with creating this report, I wouldn't be in favor of it with whatever they bring back. I've spoken with pastors in our community, and like, even though it's only a couple $1,000s that we're taxing these churches, they are in fear that they would not be able to continue to operate and provide the services that they provide. And when it comes down to why we don't tax them, it's the separation of church and state. When we tax an entity or a person, they are in subjection to the taxing authority. We have no authority over the spiritual, religious realm, and that's why it's there. And at this time, I still support that, so I'm not in favor of it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? I have to say that I'm not in favor of this, just to the fact that I absolutely agree that the Catholic Church had a role to play in residential schools, and they have a responsibility to uphold. But I don't know if taxing those organizations for the $9,000 a year will have a direct benefit to the school survivors or the nation's their healing process. So at this point, I'm not in favor of this. Any other comments, questions? Call to question, all in favor? Oh, sorry. Ay, ay, ay. Let's try that again. Call to question, all in favor? Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. For the members on the phone, Councillor Majinski, Councillor Lehman, and myself were opposed, as well as both of you. Councillor Howe is in favor. Okay, moving on to councillors' business. Any councillors' business this evening?
I have one, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for having to speak out. It's a difficult thing when we're back and forth like this, but I just would I have a quick update from the community force. We chose our new officers, and currently our officers are President Al Kangas, Rob Mackay is our Vice President, and Jan Legaspi is now our Treasurer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other councillors' business? Councillor Lehman?
Yeah, we donated golf carts to Soto charity golf tournament to raise money for a couple of playgrounds that they wanted to put in. And it was actually quite a bit of fun, and they did mention Tumble Ridge's generous support quite a few times, so that was nice. And over the 2 days, so I think it was a fun event, and it was a good turnout. And they were sure appreciative, so which was nice to see.
Absolutely. I think we got them out of a bind in that situation, and I think our relationship is building on a day-to-day basis, and it's nice that when our neighbors are in a bind like that, they can phone, and hopefully one of us can help out. So I'm very happy that they were willing to phone as well. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you. For myself, I had a coalition, Resource Municipalities Coalition meeting earlier in the month. Regional District Board meeting this week on Thursday, as well as the UBCM meetings have started this week, the ministry meetings with the municipalities. We had our meeting today with the Ministry of Mines. Went very well. We were talking about the permitting processes, as well as a little bit of the provincial hydrogen strategy, as well as if there was any possible call for powers in the wind power sector in the near future. So it was, and we did speak with Minister Ralston and Assistant Deputy Minister Peter Robb. So we have developed a relationship with both of them, and it was nice to speak to both of them again today. Yeah, and tomorrow is going to be a busy day with 4 meetings with ministries as part of UBCM, so should be interesting. Any other councillors' business? Okay, question and answer period, Ms. Thompson. Any questions?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I have none submitted by email.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Valerie?
No. Oh, yes, sorry, yeah. Jeez, it's been so long since we had a gallery. Ms. Sloan, this is an opportunity for you to ask a question about the agenda if you have one. Go ahead, yeah, please.
I take off the mask.
Yes.
I don't know how many questions I'm allotted, but I got a couple.
Just question here. One question per person.
One?
Yes, please.
One. Okay. Just give me a moment.
Sure thing.
Okay, so I'm a homeschooling mother. And this question is for any council member. So there's a home learning presence in Tumbler Ridge. Some members which are non-COVID vaccinated and some that just want to protect their rights to privacy. So they might be vaccinated, but they want to keep their health information private. They want to protect their medical rights not to be coerced and patient rights to refuse medical treatment and pharmaceutical products. Because of this, some of our home learning families in our town are going to be refused access to essential places, such as the Tumbler Ridge Aquatic Center, indoor playground, gym, skating rink, and other sporting programs. We have students that require a parent to be with them. Either they have special needs or they're not old enough, they need a parent and the parent might not be vaccinated. And that goes with programs as well and events that might be offered through the library. That these are essential because as home learning families, we rely on these events and programs for the socialization, the physical education, and the health of our kids. So my question is there anything the district at Tumbler Ridge, is there anything you guys can do to accommodate our families that rely on these facilities, these programs, to accommodate our community?
I appreciate the question, and I do appreciate the letter that you sent to us. As was mentioned before, there is still a lot of information that needs to come to us before we can determine what is allowed, what isn't allowed, and what the province wants us to do. I definitely understand your situation as far as home learning goes. There is a number of people that homeschool in town, and I completely respect that fact. And I think we've been very lucky to have some of the services provided in the community to not only accommodate a portion of the homeschooling, but also for the quality of life for all of our families. Mentioning the library as one, being a core service in our community. At this point, I think the answer is we need to wait and see to get more information. But thank you for bringing up the concern, and we'll certainly have to look for something to try and accommodate those types of services.
I guess my concern is that Bonnie Henry has, I think the BC vaccine card, the date is January 31st that this is supposed to be implemented. That's 5 months of our students learning in Tumbler Ridge, where we'll be not given access to these essential parts of our kids' education.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and we'll certainly try to figure out a way to adapt. That's part of the problem I see in these restrictions coming forward on the 13th is there's no adaptability. There's no exceptions. There's no flexibility whatsoever. It's just this, that's it. There has to be another way. There has to be another option for people in different situations. That's the beauty of society, is we're all different. We're all in different situations. Some care about privacy more than others. Some care about whatever. It's the freedom of choice. We all have it, and we also have the freedom of opinion. And without you bringing this to our attention, we wouldn't know that we need to fight for that situation. So I appreciate you bringing this forward, and we'll do all that we can to try to accommodate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Howell?
Just for clarity, she used a lot of second questions. Well, it's one question per person. After everyone has had an opportunity to ask a question, the second question will be allowed to each person.
Okay, thank you.
Just for clarity.
Yes, thank you. If you have a second, by all means.
Um, I guess my question, has the District of Tumbler Ridge been bribed by incentives or any amount of money by the provincial or federal governments to enforce this discriminatory program? And has the District of Tumbler Ridge been blackmailed or threatened with the loss of payments by the government if this district chooses not to facilitate the unethical BC vaccine card program?
I can 100% answer that question. Absolutely not. Councillor Howell?
Well, we absolutely have been given money by the province of British Columbia. Remember I think it was $400,000, was that the amount?
For
800.
$850,000 the province gave us that said spend it how you want, provided you are using this for your own COVID vaccine, your recovery in your town. To some degree, there was something like if we had additional costs because we needed more staff, or we needed more cleaning supplies, or we needed more stuff, the province said, here's $800,000, spend it how you want to spend it.
No, there was a number of restrictions on that, how we had to spend it. It was all to do with economic recovery because the economy completely shut down. Ms. Thompson, can you clarify as far as some of the restrictions that we had in regards to that funding? And in my opinion, that absolutely did not qualify as a bribe or a payoff. Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Member Trent through Council. So it was a COVID recovery grant, and it was if we had to purchase any additional supplies. There is no clawback on those funds, but we are required to report on our financial statement where those funds were spent. So if there were additional wages that were required for COVID recovery, those were all put in on our financial statement.
Would you consider any of that COVID recovery money to be a bribe or a payoff?
I would not. The way that the letter was worded, it was for COVID recovery in order to assist, because there was a recognition that there was a hardship placed on municipalities in regard to COVID and the restrictions that were in place.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Ms. Sloan?
Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have one more? I think we have
lot.
time. How about one more? We do have another closed portion.
You consider putting forth a survey to the community to see where everyone stands for the BC vaccine card program.
Survey to ask the question,
Yeah,
what's the question?
where residents stand on the BC vaccine card program.
I would certainly entertain the idea. I mean, as a result of that survey, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I hope that you guys would understand, what portion of the population does not agree and will not comply with the BC vaccine card.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Lehman?
Well, I mean, we can pretty well determine that by the number of people vaccinated in Tumbler Ridge. We know how many people that is. So,
You can be against the mandatory vaccines and the BC vaccine card program and be vaccinated.
true, but it's like any survey. It depends on who wants to answer the question, because depending on all the ones that don't want to be vaccinated or against the vaccination will maybe answer the survey, and the other ones that have the vaccine won't bother because they just either doesn't matter to them or I don't know. I find surveys are not all that reliable. I mean, you look at the polls and how many times they're wrong, and they're supposed to be within 1 to 2.5% accurate, yet, you know, how many times do they get them wrong? And we've had surveys in town where if the population is 1,500 and you get 230 people, that's not a real survey because it doesn't give you the actual numbers. You get a certain portion. The ones that are interested, the ones that aren't gonna bother.
Or have the time. That's something that we found in our short experience here is surveys, the average response of a survey is around 10 to 20%. It's very difficult to make very big decisions on a survey result with only 10% people responding. So I'm not sure if a survey is the best tool or not, but it's certainly something to think about. I mean, we're definitely assuming and guessing what the percentages of our community is in that sense against the vaccine card. It would be nice to have some certainty on that, absolutely. But I'm just not sure of the results of that survey where you would want it to go, I guess.
Would a petition be more helpful?
I think it would be better. Yeah. I think it would be better because it would be a much better and accurate representation of the numbers rather than a general survey and only 10% respond. Because then we're really only seeing the 10% that actually care about the concern or the question too, right? Okay, thank you very much for your participation. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, resolution to close meeting, number 13. I'll move that the meeting be closed to the public in accordance with the Community Charter, Section 91, C, E, I, and J as follows. C, labor relations or other employee relations. E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements, if the council consider the disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. I, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. And J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Second, Councillor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Any opposed on the phone? Carried, thank you. 10-minute recess, please.